Legend of Korra, episode 8. This episode. How do I describe this episode? I have some issues with this episode, but it is a really good episode. That, if not, feels a little rushed pacing wise, but otherwise is pretty solid. Basically, at the end of last week's episode, Korra was captured by Tarlok, which I wish they kind of maybe shown that a little bit better at the end of last week's episode, but it's fine. She's captured by Tarlok. So, Tenzin, Beifong, and Mako and Bolin, and of course Asami, all go to look for her. And meanwhile, Korra is trying to get in touch with her Aang self, who's trying to speak to her because basically Aang dealt with the ancestor of Tarlok, who was also a bloodbender, and we learned that bloodbending no longer needs to be done within the first full moon. It's a skill that you can learn, but only special amount of people can learn. I think that aspect of this episode, while it was cool to see younger versions or older versions of Sokka, Aang, and Toph, and all this stuff, and man, Toph calling Aang Twinkle Toes at 30 is hilarious and fantastic. But I felt like maybe we should have got a full episode seeing this whole stuff with them down, and then it's also like, oh, Aang's trying to talk to you. I'm like, was that really hinted at that much during this season? Because I don't think it was. And so it felt very rushed in this episode, all that stuff. But once you see those flashbacks, are really good. And the bloodbending sequences in this episode are horrific, of course. And they don't shy away from how horrific it is. But then Tarlok, and then they free Korra. And yeah, it's just... So, and then the other aspect of this episode that I really fucking hate is you got Mako, who Bolin accidentally reveals that Mako kissed Korra. And Asami, of course, didn't know, but Bolin is so clueless about it, of course, which is in character for him, I guess, but it feels a little also like, is he really that clueless? So I don't know if it's fully in character, but he reveals that to her, and he's like, yeah, I'm over it. I'm like, bitch, you can't see the obvious writing on the wall, but okay. So he's dealing with that, and Asami's like, just upset by the whole thing, because she's watching Mako chase down Korra, and I'm just like, bitch, it's a close friend of his who's captured and missing. He's going to react this way. He also didn't feel like oh my gosh, someone I really love is like in danger kind of situation where her reaction felt oriented. It's just really odd jealousy. Like, it came out of nowhere. It didn't like. She has no reason to be jealous of Korra. I just think both of these people are just like in this. This whole love triangle has wasted so much time in the show, because again, Korra was originally supposed to be a mini series, and when you watch this season from that mindset, you're like, man, there's so many of these events. Like I mentioned, the whole Aang flashbacks. They could have been their whole episode, but instead we got a whole episode of love triangle. Why? We got a whole episode of all that kind of stuff, and you're just not interested. I don't know. So we'll see what happens next week. I barely remember this show, honestly, rewatching it, so it's actually good rewatching it. So I know some of the twists with Tarlok, but we'll see. And then it's also kind of implied that Amon took Tarlok's bending, which is pretty fucking scary. But also something clearly seems off about Amon, and that's also what I remember about the twist. But I'm not going to say much more about the twist. Let me know your thoughts, like, share, and subscribe.